Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our heroic super guide for defeating Chieftain Scarvash from League of Explorers in heroic mode. We're going to talk about how to do it with every hero class and even a deck of basic and common cards only. Chieftain Scarvash's passive hero power that makes you not able to, or makes it cost a lot more to play spells on even turns and minions on odd turns. That isn't too much of a limitation. Basically, it means that it makes certain draws that would otherwise work in a normal game kill you. Like, you kind of need to draw a little bit luckily to have reasonable things to play on reasonable turns. Now, you want to generally, put in even-mannered minions, odd-mannered spells. They don't have to be. It's not the end of the world if you waste a mana crystal, but that's sort of what you're looking to optimize for. And you want to put close to 50-50 in there so that you are likely to draw sort of enough of both that you don't have a complete dead turn. But what makes Chieftain Scarvash pretty hard is not really that hero power, but the trogs that start on the board. Because they punish you heavily for the turns where you can't play minions but need to play spells. You're sort of incentivized not to play spells because it buffs his guys, but if you're doing nothing that turn, his guys will also kill you. One of the absolute keys is getting a Doomsayer out on turn 2. This is one of the best ways, if he doesn't have a way to kill it, and you need to get a little lucky for that to be the case, you can clear his board, save another turn, and then you can finally sort of do your thing one per turn, play your spells, play your minions, and try to compete on board. Coupled with that, you have a bit of healing come into the decks to give you a way to climb back if you do take a bunch of early damage, which is pretty common. And with that said, the thing you can really double down on in classes that support it is weapons, because weapons can be played on either turn. It does not limit you as much, gives you something useful to do on multiple turns, and this is Warrior is the class we used to make that easy and to eventually give us a common and basic card only deck that could take him down. Anyway, let's jump into all the decks, starting with Druid. The Druid deck I put together wins the long game based on your Jades. We have, as you can see in the screenshots, you can end up with a lot of Jades based on Jade Idol and essentially working him through his deck. You have a strong Jade package between Behemoths, Black Paw, Jade Spirits, Jade Blossoms. We don't have Wild Growths because on 2 that's going to hurt you a lot with his trogs out on the board. As we talked about, Doomsayers are really important. Your backup for Doomsayers is essentially your Explosive Sheep to at least help get rid of his smaller trogs. Stubborn Gastropods, also good early drops to at least force something to die. Feral Rage for heal. Argus to be able to taunt up some of your bigger Jades towards the end if you're low on life and just need to survive. Nourish for draw to get a bit of extra healing with, Refreshment Vendors even, a nice strong play on turn 4. Ken Bloodhoof for even more value, and Sylvanas to essentially help you win back on the late board. Earthen Scales also acts as an additional way to gain some extra life for cheap towards the end where you're finally stabilizing and want to sneak in some health gain essentially to prevent you from dying, because he does have quite a bit of burn to face once you survive that initial damage from his early trogs. In the case of Hunter, we go with kind of even-mannered minions, odd-mannered spells. Hunter's Mark is your friend, even if it buffs, if you have a big trog left on the board, even if it buffs it, if you're taking that out with Hunter's Mark Unleash or something like that, it helps. Hunter does have some nice odd-mannered spells that give you minions, like Animal Companion and Unleash the Hounds, which is a nice property. Houndmaster to buff your beast. Scavenging Hyena is a way to run away with the game if you get lucky and sort of combo things together. You obviously can't combo that with Unleash the Hounds on the same turn, but if you do have some minions out and later put the Scavenging Hyena to take advantage, it can help. You have Horned Creeper for just some early board presence, Kindly Grandmother, Knife Juggler, etc. Explosive Shot is a bit of good AoE that can help combine with something like Unleash the Hounds for an effective board clear, and then your value late game options in terms of Savannah Highmanes and Call of the Wild. Mage, you can get quite a bit of value by cheating out your secrets, so you don't have to actually play them and you know, not be able to play them on a turn. So you have your Mad Scientist to draw Ice Barriers for a lot of healing, a block to buy you a turn, a Mana Bind to give you a free spell, which can go a long way to recovering tempo-wise, as does Mirror Entity, and Potion of Polymorph to deal with some of his bigger threats, as does Vaporize help you as well. Animated Armors are in there for defensive purposes to prevent you from taking a bunch of damage. It acts sort of like a taunt for your face. Refreshment Vendor, again, good value as our Shredder, Water Elemental to help freeze big threats. Sylvanas tends to just be a really powerful late game minion to put out in response to some of the threats towards the end and get board control. Firelands Portal, good value. Flame Strike to be able to clear his board towards the end when you're fighting for stabilization. And then the early drops again are important. Medivh Valet, by the way, combos well with getting secrets out to be able to ping off some of his smaller trogs, but Doomsayers and Stubborn Gastropods are really your key early game options to save the board from his early trogs. But the deck I beat him with at the time of League of Explorers, was basically just the overpowered deck of the day, Secret Paladin. This is a deck that's not optimized. I don't think, it looks like I didn't even change it from standard Secret Paladin at the time. The idea is if you can stabilize early, you know, if you can play on curve, your shielded mini-bots, muster for battle, etc., and eventually actually get your Mysterious Challenger out on 6, which will absorb further hits, give you a buffed board, and then you can sort of take control from there. Nothing too rocket sciencey here. It is pretty much standard Secret Paladin from the time of the expansion. Can probably build a better Paladin deck though, I'll be honest. You know, you can put in heal, you can put in Doomsayers, etc. But this did work for me at the time. For Priest, you can go with the quest with the intention being that if you complete the quest, you can get Amara to heal you back up to 40, which is critical to stabilize after all the early damage you'll take. We of course have Doomsayers in there again. Shadow Word Pains are not in here actually, because they're even mana, of course. But Deaths are a way to sort of be able to play a spell that buffs the big trog and then actually death it. Villain's chosen to pump up your early guys because you do play some durable guys in the form of like Piloted Shredder, Cairn Bloodhoof, etc. Cabal Shadow Priest is a nice way to steal his smaller trogs. Sylvanas in there again, and because of all the death rattle going with the Awaken the Makers, we also have N'Zoth to just bring back a big end game. You have the taunts into Tortolan Shell Raisers to help you stabilize when you do that turn. Potion of Madnesses can be quite nice for stealing his trog and marching them into each other to help kill them. Binding Heal and Power Word Glory help you stay alive. You know, you can put Power Word Glory, even if you're buffing his big trog, it essentially neutralizes it. It's only doing like 1 damage to you each turn. And Shield to help you draw through to your critical answers. Maiev Shadow's Parody deck, parody refers to where the number is even or odd, is, you know, repeating some of the themes we've seen. In terms of having Doomsayers, Stubborn Gastropods to help you survive that early game. Shadow Strike's a very nice tool to be able to deal with his burly trogs. You have your value things again like Shredder, Refreshment Vendor, Corpse Flower to keep coming back when you combo it with your cheap spells like Preps and Backstabs, Conceals, etc. Razor Petal Lasher to, again, give you cheap spells that combo well with Sherazin and gadgets on Auctioneer. It's sort of like a Miracle Rogue deck from the time when Sherazin came out. Sylvanas just always so good as your answer to his big threats, or even just a wide board to help you get back. And you're looking to stabilize, do a little bit of healing, and then push back the damage. You also have Assassinates you could easily work in nowadays, Valspine Slayers as well. My Shaman deck, as seems to often be the case with these heroic bosses, ended up being like a weird hodgepodge of stuff. You have the same themes for early board, Survival, Doomsayer, Stubborn Gastropod. You have Big Heal with Healing Wave, You have Jade stuff with Jade Claws, Jade Spirit, and Aya Blackpaw. You have your value minions like Fire Elementals, Refreshment Vendors, Piloted Shredders. You have your hard removal in the form of Hex and Sylvanas again. You have your big tempo plays like Flame Wreath Faceless. Charged Hammer is a nice way to give you eventually a hero power that can just steadily do 2 damage to help kill him and deal with his smaller minions. And the AoE of Lightning Storm and Bloodlust and Doomhammer, some tools to help you wipe out his board towards the end, as well as Volcano, which is a very valuable way to be able to reset. Like if you get to 5 and haven't dealt with his board, this will usually wipe it out. Warlock continues similar themes. Corruption for instantly dealing with threats. Well, not instantly, but setting up a cheap way to deal with them. Doomsayers and Gastropods again. Otherwise, you have your kind of mid-range helpful things, but with Void Callers being able to bring out some powerful demons to help you really push a flip of a board state. So you can get out Jaraxxus Mal'Ganis or Jaraxxus towards the end to heal a bit and give you Infernos. Nethers for board clear. Sylvanas as always. Karakazam for just, you know, some helpful board states, and your emergency button of doom. Warrior is a great class for utilizing weapons which you can play on even or odd mana turns, because the restrictions are to minions and spells but don't mention weapons. So we have Fiery War Axes, Death Bite, and a Gore Howl can get you a lot of value if you keep killing his stuff while gaining armor and life through things like, you know, you even have Iron Hides in here to combo with Shield Slam, as you have Shield Blocks and Shield Maidens to gain you life and let you play into your Gore Howl. Varian Rin is a nice way to get out some extra threats for kind of flipping the momentum on the board. King Mosh can be comboed with things like the Death Rattle from Death Spite to help clear the board. You have your emergency resets with Brawls. You have your Doomsayers and Stubborn Gastropods again. Bash also gains you armor to quickly be able to combo with a Shield Slam and just gain some life. And that's the deck. And Warrior is also what we used for a super budget deck of only basic and common cards only. It's a rough game, I'm not going to lie. You don't have your Doomsayers. We put in other tools to help you deal with the early board, like Volatile Elementals to sort of one-shot some of the smaller trogs. You still have your Bashers, your War Axes, your Shield Blocks. You want to gain life. Blood Rays is a nice common card that can help you, you know, AoE the board, you know, whirlwind the board, and hit into a smaller trog, etc. And activate things like Bloodhoof Brave. You have some taunts in here. Death Spider, good one. Refreshment Vendor. Tomb Spider for value. The idea is to clear the board. Heal bots to help you heal. Even though it's 5 mana, just play it, you know, in a 6 mana turn. We desperately need the heal. And that's why Tournament Medics are in here too. If you can stabilize on the board but not health, Tournament Medic is the kind of thing that almost acts as a Justicar. You can keep gaining your life back and getting out of lethal range. Ironforge Portal to be able to heal you up a bit and give you a minion as well. And Fool's Bane can be, you know, you need to have a bit of life to work with, but this is what can really get you ahead on the tempo and ahead on the value game. If you can kill, you know, best case scenario, like kill 4 of his minions on board over turns from this one card while you're playing out 4 threats, getting out a Tournament Medic so that each time you armor up you're gaining more life, get out a heal bot, you can stabilize and be able to turn the corner to finally be ahead on board and push the damage through. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I beat Chieftain Scarvash in heroic mode with every single hero class, even a deck of basic and common cards only. Good luck if you're still to try it. See you next time.